What's going on, everybody? Thank you kindly for joining me. Veterans have reported to Vikings training camp, which means the offseason is officially done. All is right with the world. We are less than 7 weeks away from week 1 of the Minnesota Vikings season. Kevin O'Connell met with the assembled media to discuss the Danielle Hunter situation, Jordan Addison. Now it's no longer the dog days of summer, so let's break it all down. Despite not showing up for voluntary or mandatory minicamps, Danielle Hunter did report to Vikings training camp today, and Kevin O'Connell addressed the assembled media.
Yeah, Danielle has reported. He's going through that process right now. It's going to be a day-to-day thing. Danielle and I have had such good dialogue over these last few days. Continue to work through the contractual side. I tend to let that be dealt with Kwesi and Rob and the rest of our crew. I think Danielle feels comfortable communicating with me, and we'll work through it day by day.
There's quite a lot to unpack with what Kevin O'Connell said. Basically, he's been in communication with Danielle Hunter. Translation: it's always good to separate church and state and have a separate GM than a head coach, because you can do the good cop, bad cop routine. Kevin O'Connell can throw Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah under the bus all he wants and say, hey, I want you here, Danielle. Coach Flores wants you here, but you and your agents got to work it out with Kwesi in order for you to get a contract that you're satisfied with. When it's all said and done, Kevin O'Connell didn't say anything we didn't already know. He wants him back. Flores wants him back. His teammates want him back. Everybody wants him back. It's just we got to find a way to make this work. Now, we can look at this a couple different ways. Had Danielle Hunter held out, he would have got fined $50,000 a day, and you can't recuperate that money the way you used to back in the day. Teams could just say, well, we'll just waive those fines for you. Can't do that anymore. Maybe stack on a few extra millions on top of whatever contract extension you get to make up for that if you want, but I digress. Danielle Hunter's here, so he's not holding out, but you could kind of call it a hold in, which means I'm here, I'm just not going to participate in anything until I get my new contract, which means you can't find me, which is fine. I don't blame Danielle Hunter for that. He's kind of taking the best of both worlds. Looking at it from both perspectives, if the Vikings still are not going to give in to Danielle Hunter, at least he's doing something to allow the Vikings to up his trade value, unlike Zadarius Smith, who completely blew it out of the water by airing out all the dirty laundry saying, I'm not coming back. Now, hopefully, this means that the Vikings are in good faith working with Danielle Hunter and his agent to be able to get him something satisfactory for all parties. At the end of the day, I've made it clear that I don't think he'll play again with us, and I've also said from the get-go that I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope that we get to see Danielle Hunter play in a Brian Flores defense. He had 10-plus sacks last year playing in a garbage defense with Ed Donishow. Furthermore, if Brian Flores has any opportunity to make this defense better, he can only scheme it up so much. At some point, you need some players with some level of talent, and having Danielle Hunter on this team only makes Brian Flores' job easier. Hopefully, the situation will get resolved quickly, he can get onto the practice field, and we can move on with the rest of our lives. Whether that be he gets extended, or even if he just gets made whole for this year and is a free agent afterwards, or if he gets traded, we would just like to have some resolution on this so that we know where we're going with it. My dog ate my homework. That's the latest in the Jordan Addison news. It's been reported that he told the police officers who stopped him for doing 140 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone that he was on his way to a pet emergency. Doesn't excuse what happened. Kevin O'Connell also addressed that with the assembled media as well.
Both Kwesi and myself have talked with him multiple times since. I was disappointed, but it was a mistake. Obviously, owning that mistake and knows that that's something that can't happen again. We asked him to do a lot this summer to be prepared and at his best when we got going. You'd love to say that, no mistakes like that are ever going to happen, but let's learn from it. Let's make sure we're moving forward the right way, and I think he's got a good perspective on owning it, taking responsibility, but also moving forward the right way.
Translation to what Kevin O'Connell said. He and Kwesi talked to him. Probably said, hey, that's strike number 1 and strike number 2. You can't do something reckless like that, even for somebody in a medical emergency. I think that both sides of the extremes have gone overreaction on this. Some have said that Jordan Addison already is a bust and it was a bad pick because his first expression when he got interviewed after being drafted was, quote, let's get paid, and now he's gotten pulled over for a speeding ticket. A very reckless one. That's a bit of an extreme. It's also a bit of extreme to just simply say, oh, he's a young man, he just got a lot of money, yeah, we got to give him a break. No, it's somewhere in the middle. And hopefully, as Kevin O'Connell said, he has taken accountability and has learned his lesson from this. Only time will tell. But what I take away from what Kevin O'Connell said is that Jordan Addison will be a full go and a full participant. This is a pleasant relief due to the fact that Jordan Addison, outside of rookie minicamp, missed all of mandatory OTAs due to some undisclosed injury. I guess we'll never know what that is. Hopefully, he can learn from this and we can move on with the rest of our lives and ultimately get going towards the season. But those are my thoughts. Let me know yours. Does Danielle Hunter showing up a good sign, or is this just posturing to up his trade value? Do you really think Jordan Addison has learned his lesson, or is he just telling the world what everybody wants to hear? Thank you kindly for joining me, and as always, Skull to the next episode.